If you think about what impacts your taxes, the answer is everything. That's why using a tax expert can be so important. We've got Mark Stieber. He is the Chief Tax Officer at Jackson Hewitt. Thank you, Mark, for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So tell me, what is important to know for this year's tax season?
Well, you may hear there weren't many tax law changes for 2019 compared with the prior year. First myth, that's not true. There were a lot of tax law changes, both some clarity from the prior law that was clarified for this year for small businesses, self-employed, but even absent that, there were two big tax bills passed late in December, kind of like we do every year now, that changed a variety of taxpayer issues from the extender provisions to some disaster provisions to some retirement and pension plan type provisions. So a lot of tax law changes came into being at the last minute. Some were clarified from the prior year, but even separate from the tax law changes, it was a robust year for taxpayers with life changes. And in my opinion, life changes draw more opportunity to tax returns than tax law changes, and are pretty much more common and often more overlooked because you don't see them on shows like this. So watch for life changes, watch for tax changes, but there was a lot of change for 2019.
So the changes, and you talked about life's big changes, what, like having children, that affects the tax return, what else?
Well, getting married, getting divorced, buying a house, and having children are kind of the big ones. But those are so obvious that most taxpayers would recognize that those can impact your tax return in some big way. And they do, and in good ways mostly. But there are so many others, from starting a small business part-time on the side, or a gig business, or starting your own business full-time for that matter. But taking care of a dependent parent, for example, very common, has a big impact. Or if you're having a person in your family go seek higher education and go to college, there's about a dozen tax benefits that can hit a tax return on higher education. So getting married and having children for certain, starting a business, taking care of someone in your family, having someone go to college, having a new member join your household, all of those can add new benefits, new deductions, new credits to your tax return. And if you have a child, goodness, that's probably the biggest one, and a whole host of activity goes on to a new child in your house. But be sure to tell your tax pro about your life change. They can have more impact to your tax return than the tax changes.
All right, and speaking of those tax changes, tax laws, what are some of the biggest things that our viewers should be aware of that's changed for this year?
Well, there were a lot of changes that are just standard raises and elements that are part of the inflationary increases. But the things that I would call out in particular that have particular benefit for taxpayers really have to do with small business and self-employed. There were a lot of changes to the Tax Cut and Job Act, the QBI, or Qualified Business Income Deduction, that affects so many millions of taxpayers, can help a small business get a bigger deduction. There was some depreciation. There were ways to write off assets faster. Those are some big ones. Other places to watch out for, there's a new 1040 form this year, changed from the old postcard to a bigger postcard. There's a new 1040 SR tax form for taxpayers. There's a new checkbox on the tax return this year related to taxpayers who own or bought or sold cryptocurrency, that those taxpayers need to be made aware of and watch out for. So a lot of little things, nothing really hugely big, but those little things can trip you up or allow you to miss a benefit that can cost you money. So the tax pro can help on that respect.
Mark, I need help because you just rattled off a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm like, you said there weren't many changes, but that sounds like a laundry list. So we can go to you guys for help. What is the website?
Well, our website is a great place to start, Elsa, www.jacksonhewitt.com, just like the name. We have videos, we have checklists, we have what do you need to take to your tax pro, and a little website link. You put your zip code in and up pops all the offices, so you can make an appointment today or show up today or find the office near you and show up tomorrow. So a lot of tools on jacksonhewitt.com.
Mark Stieber, thank you so much for all of that information and for helping us tackle our taxes early. Appreciate that. And we'll be right back with more Midday Maryland right after this.